So a problem here, a man travels according to this series of location. Given with the three vectors here, draw this path of travel. So here, first things first that we must do is to, yes, draw an x, y coordinate for this case. Okay, so we'll draw an x, y coordinate system. So again, this will be your north, and then this will be your south. This is your west, voila, and then your east. So what we're going to do is to draw first the first vector, or the A vector, having a magnitude of 1.75 with a direction of 20 degrees north of east. So meaning to say, how to locate that one on the quadrant, you'll start with east and then going north. So again, so basically you'll measure 20 degrees, Dari, 20 degrees. So I'll label this one as 20 degrees north of east, and then its magnitude will be 1.75 kilometers. Next, since it is a series of location, so a tendency you'll have here after this point here, I will call that one as a vector. So here a vector, or A, having a magnitude of 1.75 kilometers. Okay, next at the tip of your A vector, we'll connect an arbitrary xy plane for this case. We'll connect the B vector for this one. So here you'll have 2 kilometers is its magnitude, and then its direction, 105 degrees counterclockwise with respect to positive x-axis. So take note that this one is its positive x-axis. So another way of stating its direction, positive x-axis. And then counterclockwise from the positive x-axis, you'll measure 105 degrees. Okay, and its magnitude is simply 2 kilometers. Okay, we'll color that one as green. And we'll label also, don't forget to put some labels. So we'll label this one as B vector having a magnitude, or B having a magnitude of 2 kilometers. Okay, and lastly for the C vector, so again, I repeat, you'll insert an XY coordinate. Okay, some sort of a guide. So, and the next is that the direction is southwest. Okay, so take note that this is north, south, west, and then east. So its direction is simply southwest. So you'll have here 3 kilometers. Here, for this case, the angle here, when we say southwest, ang angle ana niya dari is simply 45 halfway. So 90. 45, 45, either way around. Okay, and we'll call this one as C vector having a magnitude of 2.25 kilometers. Okay, so that would be the drawing of his path of travel. For letter B, find his displacement from the origin. Take note when we say displacement, it is the magnitude and direction from the starting point to the end point. So here, for this case, you can form an equation from this figure. So you'll have here A plus B plus C vector is equal to your R vector. So meaning to say you'll have R vector is equal to A plus B plus C vector. And if and only if, for example lang, return to its original point, or point of origin ang vector, so meaning to say, ang displacement is equal to 0. But then for this case, dili naman siya taman, so dili 0 ang displacement. Na magnitude ug napoy direction. So here, in order to find its magnitude and direction, of course, you need to find or use Pythagorean theorem for that case, for its magnitude sa resultant vector. So you'll have here r, magnitude of the resultant vector is equal to rx squared plus square root of the, I forgot, rx squared plus ry squared. How to look for your rx and ry? All you have to do is to follow this one na nasa above. Okay, your rx is simply also equal to your ax plus bx plus cx. So you need to add all components of x only. Same as true for your ry, that is simply equal to ay plus by plus cy. Okay, we need to find these 6 components here. So how? We're going to use trigonometric functions. Okay, so for letter A, we'll find the components of your A vector. It's ax and ay. So what we're going to do here again, your A vector is lying along the first quadrant with some angle 20 degrees from the positive x-axis counterclockwise. Okay, so you'll have here A vector. We'll just gonna have to draw separately na lang para dili magsigiw balhin-balhin. Okay, this is your A vector having a magnitude of 1.75 kilometers, and its direction is simply 20 degrees. So again, once mag-component method, okay, for this case is that enclose nimo ang angle into a right triangle. So here, so this is the vertical component, so meaning to say it's the y component. And here, on the other hand, horizontal component is your ax or the x component. We'll put some labels for that one. Here, we'll have, if this is the positive x-axis, okay, so this will be your ax, right? And if this is the positive y-axis, then this will be your ay. Okay, notice your ax is on the adjacent side of angle 20, so meaning to say it's adjacent to cosine. So you'll have here 1.75 kilometers cosine 20 degrees. So the answer would be 1.64 kilometers I hot. On the other hand, your y component is on the opposite side of angle 20, so you'll have sine. So 1.75 kilometers sine 20 degrees. So the answer would be 0.6 kilometers J hot. Okay, take note there are these are positive components. It's towards positive x-axis and positive y-axis. So that would be plus plus, lying along the first quadrant. Next, for letter B, okay, if you'll notice, it's lying along the second quadrant. Okay, so you'll have an idea that its x component is simply negative, right? So it's lying along the second quadrant. Okay, here. So ang tendency, the angle is given by this one, 105 degrees. Okay, so here, if you'll notice, Pag ingani-gani with respect to positive x-axis, pwede nga along x kay permi cosine, and then ang y kay permi sine. Pero most likely, it's a little bit confusing para sa inyo ha. So, ang tendency here, I will gonna explain it later on. So, if you'll notice, this is an obtuse angle. So, ang tendency nito, acute angle. It could either be, I could use this one here. Pila ni nga angle dari, that would be determinable. It's simply 105 minus 90 degrees. So, that would be the answer here. So, I guess that would be 15, right? Okay, so we'll have to use 15 degrees for this one. Okay, so you'll have 15 degrees here. Okay, or you could use this other one here. You'll yield the same answer for that one. So that would be 105 minus 180. That would be 75. Okay, so we'll use this 15 first. So at tendency, you will have to use component method. So you'll have here. So I'll call that it's the horizontal component. So this would be bx, right? So this is the horizontal component of the vector. So its magnitude is given by 2 kilometers. Take note, b vector having a magnitude of 2 kilometers. So kani, this will be your bx towards left. And on the other hand, your by is simply upward. Okay, so this would be your by. So if you'll notice, your bx is on the opposite side of angle 15. So meaning to say sine. Okay, so you'll have here 2 kilometers sine 15. Okay, is it positive or negative? It's towards left, so negative. Or you can also write, you can use this angle 75 here. You can also use component methods for this one, this 2 here. Okay, similar lang na sa equal. I'm just gonna show you nga both of them are equal. This will be your by, equal na sila. Ang mga components. Kani siya equal, kana siya equal po na siya. And this will be your bx. So for this case, your bx is on the adjacent side of angle 75. So that means to say I'm gonna use cosine. So you'll have negative es, it's towards left. So 2 kilometers, and then I'm going to use cosine 75 degrees. Okay? And lastly, ang isa, katokong giingon kagain na nga, kahira ma-apply ang x per mi cosine, ang y per mi sine, that is when your angle is lying along the, rather, ang angle kay gina-measure with respect to positive x-axis. So, ang tendency you'll have here, 2 kilometers, cosine 105. Negative, dili mag-matter. So, ang magpa-negative sa answer kay ang cosine 105. So, you will yield the same answer that is simply equal to negative 0.52 kilometers. Okay, so again, the answer is simply equal to negative 0.52 kilometers I hot. Or you can move this negative sign adjacent to your unit vector. Next, on the other hand, for its by or y component, okay, if you'll notice, it's on the opposite side, wrong. If you'll notice, it's on the adjacent side of your by or angle 15, so you'll have 2 kilometers cosine 15, positive, it's upward, or also equal to, you can use 2 kilometers sine 75. Depende kung asa mo kanang convenient in using the notations. And also you can use 2 kilometers sine 105. You will yield the same answers for this one, and that would be equal to 1.93 kilometers. So you'll have here, this is equal to 1.93 kilometers j height. Here, for your C vector, okay, so it has a magnitude of, C vector has a magnitude of 2.25 kilometers. So, ang angle, southwest, so pasabot kay halfway yun na siya katunga sa 90. You choose either of the two kung asa yung ganani component method for this case. So you'll have, I'm gonna choose this one here. Okay, so here. So this will be vertical components mo niyang CY, right? Okay, so mo niyang CY downward, and then kaning part diri, this will be your CX. So next, mag-component method na ta. If you'll notice, your CX is on the adjacent side of angle 45, so that means to say ka, adjacent. So you'll have here 2.25 kilometers, and then you'll have cosine 45. But don't forget, it's moving towards negative x-axis, so negative cosine. Okay, so the answer will be negative 1.59 kilometers j hot. Kilometers j hot. And on the other hand, your CY it's on the opposite side of angle 45, so sine. So negative 2.25 kilometers, and then you'll have sine 45 degrees. So you'll also yield the same answer, negative 1.59 kilometers j hot. And lastly, if you're looking for your Rx and Ry, all you have to do is to go back here. Okay, add lang tanan. So next, so you'll have just to add all Ax, Bx, add all x's. So 1.64 plus 0.5, negative 0.52 minus 1.59. The answer is simply equal to negative 0.47. So we'll just have to write it Ax plus Bx plus Cx. So the answer is simply equal to negative 0.47 kilometers. I have some wrong here. I guess this is I hot. Okay. And this is also I hot. On the other hand, you'll do the same for your y component. Add all y's, by plus cy. So the answer for that one is simply equal to 0.94 kilometers j hot. Okay, we are not yet done. We only have our Rx and Ry here. So to look for the magnitude of this vector, we'll have to use Pythagorean theorem. And if you'll notice, on what quadrant is this one lying? So yes, it's basically lying along the second quadrant. Okay, so tama to ang drawing kaganina. So how to confirm? So here, so you'll have here, so basically your Rx is negative, so this would be towards left. Okay, put some colors onto this one. And your RY is positive, so meaning to say it's upward. In kaso negative ang RY, that would be downward. Same as true for your RX. If it's positive, then it's towards right. Okay, depende kung asa mo ang coordinate system na locate. Okay, or giset. But for me, I've set my coordinate system as this one as positive x. So, opposite ana kay negative x. And if I'll set this coordinate system as positive y, ang opposite ana kay negative y. So, since this is rx, right? Negative, bantog left. Ry, positive, bantog upward. Okay, so if you connect that one, makita nimo ang resultant vector. Okay, so tara, i-connect na to. Oho. Yes, that would be your resultant vector and it's lying along the, yes, second quadrant. So we're looking for the magnitude of this one, r, pila iyahang magnitude, and then its direction here. We'll call this as angle theta. So again, I repeat using Pythagorean theorem to solve for its magnitude. So you'll have here square root of rx squared plus ry squared. So you'll have square root of rx, that would be negative 0.47 kilometers. We don't have to include the unit vectors anyway. Its magnitude is simply equal to 1, so 1 squared, that's 1 lang gyapon. Plus, you'll have 0.94 kilometers squared. So its magnitude is simply equal to, asa kaya equal to 1.07 kilometers. Okay, that would be its magnitude. So you'll have 1.05 rather, 5 kilometers. Okay, we're not yet done. We have to find its direction for that one. So here, we're going to use, you can use sine function, cosine, or tangent. But for me, I'd choose tangent function for that case. Okay, tangent function or TOA for magnitude of R vector. Here, for direction of R vector. I mean rather R vector. Okay. So we're going to use tangent function. So you'll have tangent theta is equal to absolute value. Opposite, that would be your Ry over Rx. Hindi siya permanente nga ni nga position na nga Ry over Rx. You need to follow opposite over the adjacent. Okay, kay what if kaning angle lang gigamit? Alpha. So, kung tangent function, that would be Rx over Ry. Take note. So, here, your theta is simply equal to tan inverse, absolute value, your Ry is simply equal to 0.94. So, you'll have 0.94 kilometers all over negative 0.47 kilometers. So, mag-cancel out mga bats. So, one tendency, you'll have an answer of 63.4 degrees. Okay, so it's from west. It's from west going north. So, meaning to say it's north of west. Okay, so your final answer for that one is simply, therefore, the displacement R is simply given by its magnitude, 1.05 kilometers, with a direction of 63.4 degrees north of west. And also its direction can also be equal to, yes, there are many ways to calculate for its direction, di ay mga bata. You can use this other one here. Kiniya. Okay, this one here. Okay, so that would be 180 minus 63.4. That would be equal to 116.6 or 117 degrees. Okay, so you can use 117 degrees. Also, its direction can also be equal to 117 degrees counterclockwise with respect to positive x-axis. Okay, or can also be, there are a lot of kanang way of expressing its direction. You can also use this one, mga bata. Okay, you can also use this one here, kaning alpha. Okay, how? 90 minus 63.4 mo na siya. So that would be 26.6. Okay, you can use 26.6 degrees here. So its angle can also be written as of this form, mga bats. Okay, kita gaan lang tamog ng possibilities. Okay, so you'll have 26.6. So it's from north going west. So that would be west of north. So 26 west of north. Okay, so, but then the final answer can be, direction can be written as of these three here. Lastly, for letter C, how far and what direction should he traverse if he wants to have a final destination of 3 kilometers 50 degrees south of east from his original location? So for this case, this is a little bit tricky nga problem. So take note that kaniyang gihatag nga magnitude o direction or vector is simply mo na iyahang final destination. What if lang? So for example, nilakaw siya into this direction and stops here. And what if he has a final destination at this direction here? So let's locate that one. So that would be 15 degrees south of east. So asa man ang 15 degrees south of east? It's from east going south. Okay, so here it's from east going south. So that would be 15 degrees. And we'll measure 3 kilometers for that one. Okay. 3 kilometers. Okay, shall we say this one? Okay, here, again, I repeat, ha? The direction is stop, final, and he wants to reach through this destination here. So again, so here, he wants to reach the destination here. Okay, so here. So what did you notice? It's a little bit complicated. We forgot to name that following vectors. So this purple here nga vector, kay pangalan nato na siya R prime. Okay, and then at the same time, this blue vector here, we'll name that one as D vector. So if you'll notice here, R prime is given with the magnitude of this one, 3 kilometers, 15 degrees south of east. But then it's looking for your D vector. Pila nga distance here, pila distance and direction should he travel if he wants to have a final destination of this vector from the original location. So pila ni siya nga magnitude and direction. So here, if you'll notice also, take note that na I'm a form ng equation, right? you'll have here A plus B plus C vector plus D. Tama? Again, A plus B plus C plus D is equal to R prime vector prime. But then take note, kaning A plus B plus C, kinana siya value. A plus B plus C, that is simply equal to your R vector, right? Kaning nasa babaw. If you'll notice, A plus B plus C is equal to your R vector. And na siya components daan. 0.47, negative 0.47, and then 0.94 kilometers. Okay, so we'll rewrite the equation for this one as R plus D vector is equal to R prime. Okay, if you'll notice, it's asking for, yes, for this D vector here. So what we're going to do is, yes, to transform this 1 here to the other side. So meaning to say, your D vector is equal to R prime vector minus R vector. How to look for its components? Again, unlanin mo ni. You'll have dx is equal to r prime x, okay ra? Minus rx. And even for your dy, mangita ka niya og ry prime minus ry. Okay, take note, we already have the value for your Rx. That would be 0.47, negative 0.47. And your Ry is 0.94. So we're looking for this one here, Rx prime, Ry prime. So we're going to use component method for this drawing here. Okay, so we'll use a separate nga components para dili kayo hugaw. Okay, for this case, we'll have, separate na lang nato, no, si R prime vector. So we'll have here 15 degrees. Sorry guys, iya kayong teacher guys. Okay. So this will be 15 degrees, right? This is your R prime vector having a magnitude of 3 kilometers. Okay, so positive x and then positive y-axis here. So we'll use component method for this case. So this will be vertically downwards. So I mean to say it's your ry. Okay, and on the other hand, it's towards right. So this will be your rx. Okay, so we'll put some labels for that for this one. So this will be your rx, and this will be your ry. Prime, forgot. So for this case, you'll have here your rx prime is on the adjacent side of angle 15. So yes, cosine ka. So 3 cosine 15. So the answer would be 3 cosine 15, 2.90. So you'll have 2.90 kilometers I hot. That is for your Rx prime. Next, for your Ry prime, it's on the opposite side of angle 15, so sine. So 3 sine 15, and then you'll have negative. Okay, so you'll have here 3 sine 15. That would be negative 0.77. 0.77 kilometers J hot. Okay, so we already have this components for your r prime vector. So these two here. So we can now calculate for the dy and dx components. So all we have to do is simply to substitute here. So your dx is simply equal to, substitute, rx prime is 2.90 kilometers minus your rx is given by quantity negative 47 kilometers. And the final answer would be positive 3.2.9 plus, okay, you'll have 3.37 kilometers J hot. Or rather I hot. Sorry guys. So your dy also, you'll have here ry prime minus ry, negative 0.77 kilometers minus, you'll have here 0.94 kilometers. Okay, so the answer would be here negative 0.77. Okay, wait guys. That would be 1.71. That would be 1.71 kilometers J hot. Okay, so it's lying along the fourth quadrant, right? So how do I know? Positive, your dx is positive and your dy is negative. Okay, and if you'll notice also from your drawing, your d vector is lying along the fourth quadrant. You'll have an origin here. Okay, it's lying along the fourth quadrant. So here, we'll have to look for its magnitude using Pythagorean theorem. So you'll have here okay. So we'll have to draw here. We have to put some labels. This is positive x. This one is positive y. If you'll notice, your dx is positive, so it's towards, yes, right, or towards positive x-axis. Okay. Next, your dy is simply negative, so is it upward or downward? Yes, it's downward. And then lastly, we'll put some labels. Your d vector is lying along the fourth quadrant. Okay. Sorry for kanang. Sige ko save guys. So you'll have here, this will be your dx, and then this will be your dy. This will be the d vector. And we're looking also for the angle here. We'll name this as alpha. Okay, so here for its magnitude of this d vector, we're going to use Pythagorean theorem. Okay, so you'll have square root of dx squared plus dy squared. So you'll have square root of 3.37 kilometers squared plus negative 1.71 kilometers squared. Again, unit vector is not included since its magnitude is simply 1. Okay, so here, the final answer is 3.78. So you'll have 3.78 kilometers is its magnitude, and then its direction using, you could use sine, cosine, SOHCAHTOA, but I'd prefer to use tangent function for this case, tangent alpha. So you'll have opposite dy over adjacent dx, TOA. Okay, so you'll have your alpha is simply equal to tan inverse dy, that would be negative 1.71 kilometers all over 3.37 kilometers. Since this is absolute values, mawala ra ang negative sign. Okay, so the final answer is simply 26.9 degrees. It's from east going south, so that would be south of east. Okay, or simply equal to, you could use this angle here, just simply 360 minus alpha. That would be the angle. Okay, or simply you'll have 333 degrees counterclockwise with respect to positive x axis. Okay, so your final answer would look like this. D vector, therefore, D vector is simply equal to 3.78 kilometers, and then you'll have 26.9 degrees south of east. That would be its final answer.